Do you change your sauces for the American Royal? First question. Bam. Here we go. Sterling, we're going to let you start, man.
Yeah, man. Usually no. You know what I run with is what I run with. It's gonna be. I kind of under the belief of do what got me there. You know, if I got a GC to get there, I did the same thing.
Okay.
Run with what you got. Now I may temper down the heat a little bit here in the Southwest. I think the judges expect a little more back end heat.
Okay.
And I think in the Midwest they do want a little more sweet. So that may be a rub thing. I got a spicy rub that I may not hit.
Right.
That second time.
Right.
So I may just run with a little more sweeter profile, but traditionally it's going to be the same thing.
Yeah. Yeah. What about you, Lee?
Yeah, same thing. I don't change it, but I may make it a little bit more saucier.
Right.
So I think they
make
want
your
a little
sauce
bit
saucier.
Make
Oh
it
my
saucier.
God, that's amazing. Oh, you're like, how do you make your sauce saucier?
Yeah, so you just like dip it in there a little bit longer, instead of blowing things off, just let it naturally.
I got you. The meat saucier.
The meat saucier. Yeah. That's it.
You add an extra dunk.
That's it.
Absolutely.
Right.
I agree with that.
I just make it saucy.
100%. I agree with that.
Dip it and drip it right across there.
Dip and drip it. But it's like a 3-time process now. You got to dip it, drip it, dip it, drip it, dip it.
It is.
That's right.
But when you drip it, you got to go over all the other meats, right?
That's right.
All of them.
Guys, that's how you build layers of flavor, don't you know? I mean,
100%.
that's how you do it. So
dip it and drip it times 3.
Times 3. That's it. I have heard they like it a little saucier up there on all the meats. So
I tend to go a little heavy-handed on the sauce.
Yeah. That's it. Aaron, now we have just found out that you're not going to be able to make it to the Royal this year.
Yeah, I'm
so
not going to be able to make it. But I mean, I've had to advice to go up there. It's just a lot going on, and my grandson's cook off and trying to get everything kind of lined up for it. So there's just a lot happening with it being pushed back to November. But last year and the years before I ran my same sauce, I actually kicked up the heat on ribs and pork. I mean, I actually went a little bit more of the same note I would do out here in Texas. I ran the same thing up there, and it paid off both days. But the chicken, though, I did have a spicier rub on the chicken. I was trying to think why I didn't hit. I did the day 2. I backed it off and went a little bit less of the heat with the same sauce, and it walked I think 21st. So in the open. So I mean, it was kind of I just toned the heat back on the chicken. Maybe it's too early. At the same time, pork and ribs and pork with a little bit of a spicier sauce, and it did it good. So,
okay, there you go. All right.
I ran
Sean, have you cooked the roll before?
3 times up there and walked it ribs all 3 times.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Sean, have you cooked the Royal?
I have not cooked the Royal.
Okay.
I have not.
Okay. All right. Good information so far.
What about you, Mike? Talk about you. You've walked at the Royal.
Last year. I've had some pork walks and stuff. I've been pretty fortunate there. And
saucy or no saucy?
Saucy. My pork. I always put a pretty good bit of sauce on pork and ribs.
Exactly.
So
triple.
I've kind
of
dunk. And then you keep dumping it. Drop the mic on it.
Drop the mic. That's it.
Throw it in there.
So I did all new recipes and stuff for the Jack. I literally have never put together something for KCBS style cooking. And so I threw everything out the window and started from scratch. All new rubs, sauces, injections, everything. And man, it paid off pretty good at the Jack.
We had top 10, right?
Yeah, we had 9th overall, had 11th pork, 15th chicken, 18th brisket. I mean, we really did
what was
great.
Your score? 188?
178 and some change, I think, on the pork is what it was.
Total overall.
695. I was 7 points out of first.
7. Yeah, that's good.
So
top 10.
It was really good. I think we was the only team that walked in the top 10 that didn't have any calls. So we had solid calls.
You did. It's surprising.
It was fun, and I'm going to kind of pretty much will run those same recipes. I'm making a little bit of tweak on the injection because first time I've ever run them. So
did you like that cook? Did you taste everything? You like it?
Yeah,
you're happy returning?
Oh, I was happy with everything except the damn rib. And since we're talking about that, Kyle, here we go. Texture KCBS versus Outlaw, especially on ribs. So I did a practice because it was all new injections and rubs on my ribs and brisket and everything. I wasn't going to cook a brisket, but I at least wanted to cook ribs. I've always cooked my ribs meat up, but I wanted to cook my ribs meat down. So I needed to at least see if there was a difference in the timeline. So I did it. Man, the ribs turned out perfect. clean bite, super tender, and I was just thinking, man, these aren't quite as juicy as the ribs that we cook in IBCA and BCA, because, man, we cook 4-pound racks of ribs. They are thick hammers. So I decided I was going to cook a thicker rib. And I had some freaking beautiful rib, had that nice big fat seam all the way down it. And, man, that thing hit 210, and I pulled it. And when I got ready to cut that rib, about 30, 40 minutes later, I bit into it, and it was tight, and you could taste that fat seam. It did not render that fat out, and that killed me. I'm still having a hard time. Just probably the worst rib I've ever cooked in competition. And you would have thought I would have. Oh, it was bad.
Hey, Mike called me during the cook-off. I'm over there cooking for the Jack Daniels crew. And
I hated my cook.
My
I hated everything.
Terrible. It's not going to work.
Yeah, my rib. I knew all the other stuff was on point, but my rib, I said, I'm going to get murdered. I had a 38th rib. I was on a good table. It still scored like a 171, but man, if it wouldn't have taken much for that rib, and it got me on the texture scores. I had a lot of 8s. So yeah. I'm done with the 4-pound ribs. I probably could take that same rib now to 212, and it would have probably been perfect. It needed in the 2 or 3 degrees. But I'm just not going to risk it for the Royal. I'm just going to go
lower and hold it longer.
Yeah, so I'm going to end up doing 3.5, 3.6 pound ribs. I've already got some. So Kyle, that would be the main thing I would tell you. You're going to have to pull a brisket probably about 20 to 30 minutes earlier than your Outlaw. And your rib, if you normally at 212, you're going to have to drop that down 3 or 4 degrees. And because it's got to be bite through. If it falls off the skin, man, you're going to get hammered. So
yeah, just imagine. I tell people, just imagine like eating with a fork as opposed to eating with your hands. Picking things up. With a fork, you can get more tender. It's going to be you want them to be nice, but when you're picking up with your hands, you want there to be a little bit of structure, texture there. Yeah. But just to the point of it falling apart, but it's still there. It's still there. It's really just that. Feeling it and making sure you're feeling that touch and using that Thermapin like a tool. As don't look at that number. I don't look at a lot of numbers. Right. Feel it, and know your hold. A lot can happen in your hold. Right. I took my ribs out to jack off at. I said jack off. I took my ribs with the jack off. I think they were around 205, actually 206.
Okay.
But I had about an hour, a little over an hour hold.
Right.
On them, and they tendered right up. I honestly didn't like anything I turned in at the jack. It was
wow.
It was the first time cooking on that trailer. It's my 9th comp of the year. I'm just not in that rhythm yet. Right. But at the end of the day, feel and touch, and you can make shit happen.
Didn't you finish like 7th overall though, or something?
5th.
5th overall.
5th.
Great.
But,
yeah.
But I mean, feel. Once feel, you can know barbecue and just don't mess up don't make it look good and just don't mess up taste.
That's it.
But it's really to me about having that reputation. The more I do, the better you get at anything. The more efficient you get.
Right.
Said it was a new cook out of that trailer, but I like the trailer. I obviously love the jack, man. It's exciting being there.
It's a special place.
But to me, the American Royal is my favorite of all of them. It's the biggest one. There's 500 plus teams. Right. All those people at the jack are there. All the other grand championships, reserve grand championships, are big international things. So I love the American Royal. I'll keep going as long as I can. And, to me, I say if you're going for the first time, number one, enjoy the experience, man. Get to know your neighbors. You're probably going to be neighbors with people you've never met or from different states or countries, maybe even. So get to know them, talk, have a good time, enjoy the process. Don't get overworked up. Don't get stressed out. It's a Royal. All these big teams are there. Just like any other comp. Do your thing. Do what you do. Run your game. Run your program. Turn it in. Cross your fingers just like every other time, but enjoy being there. I think
soak it in.
Yeah, when I've done my worst, it's when I've kind of been in my trailer and I'm focused and I don't want anybody to talk to me and I'm here to win, and it doesn't come right. But when you're relaxed and you're having a good time, it tends to flow, to be a lot better. So
I think earlier Tyler asked a question like, "What's your mental preparation for a large?" Cook?
Yeah, I did say that.
That's a great question. But you got to realize that 500 teams or any cook-off. There's only 6 teams on that table.
That's it.
You only got to beat 5 other teams. That's it.
Same as any.
That's it. And just
win your table.
Yeah, that's the one thing I would say. don't worry about 500 teams being there. You got 6 teams you're going to go against. If you can beat them, then all you got to hope for is you're just on a high scoring table. If you're on a high scoring table, it'll sort itself out. So,
it'll be the luck of the table. That's it.
The numbers will be the numbers. Don't worry about that. Numbers will fall where they fall. But when we talk about that mental prep, I think most of us going into this anyway have a mental prep of, when it's game time, it's game time.
Oh,
we're going to be in the moment. We're going to do what we have to do to win. That's what I do every time I come out to a comp. Yeah. But, I think as I've been doing it longer, I do have more fun these days because, I take it a little bit more lightly. But I always have that mental prep of going in of, Sean knows, Lee knows. I mean, vets, we have that kind of vet mentality of, this is a mission. We're mission oriented. Right. At the end of the day, it's to win, to be successful. And so we run a game plan and we're organized and we do things to set ourselves up for success. So I think a lot of what I talk about in my class and what others do is having that mindset, that mentality of going in knowing that this is what I'm going to do. I have a mission. I'm going to run it, and then that's what we're going to do. And then cross your fingers. Hope you get on a good table. They like me.
Yeah.